one of my inspirations. I want y'all to give a real Charleston welcome to John Legend.
I'm so fired up to be here. I love this city. I love being in South Carolina. I bring you greetings from the great state of California. My wife Chrissy says hello. Everywhere I go, they ask me, where's Chrissy? Where's Chrissy? I know I'm the second most popular person in my family. Actually, probably fourth now. Luna and Miles are ahead of me too. I'm happy to report that Chrissy and I have received our mail-in ballots back home in Los Angeles. The ballots are due next week, so I have to send them in tomorrow. But I'm proud to say I've already marked my choice for the presidential nominee from the Democratic Party. I put it in pen early because I made my decision and I'm not changing my mind. I believe Elizabeth Warren should be the next president of the United States of America. Now, I had a decision to make. I could have kept this to myself. At the beginning of the campaign, I knew there was going to be like 67 candidates in the Democratic primary, and I would have friends voting for all kinds of folks, and some of them working for them, and my intention was to publicly just stay out of it. I wasn't going to endorse anybody for the primary. I would just vote for my preferred candidate, and no matter who won the primary, I'd work my butt off to make sure Donald Trump was a one-term president. News junkie though, I started watching the campaigns. I had an open mind. I wanted to see who made the most compelling case. I really didn't know who I was going to vote for. I wanted to see who convinced me that they were ready to be the president that this country needs right now. I watched many of the debates. I saw what the candidates were posting on Twitter. I saw them in town halls and interviews. I read some of their policy positions. And as much as I wanted to publicly stay out of it, it became abundantly clear to me that one candidate stood out from the rest. That one candidate was my clear choice from among a very talented field. That one candidate was Elizabeth Warren. Let me tell you why I'm so confident in Elizabeth Warren. First of all, she's brilliant. Can we acknowledge that? Now, I know the bar is very low right now. We currently have a president who embarrasses this great nation on a daily basis with his incompetence, his lack of preparedness, his unabashed ignorance, and his lack of curiosity. He's a hot mess. Bless his heart, as y'all would say down there. Wouldn't it be so refreshing to have a woman of Senator Warren's brilliance replacing him? Wouldn't it be wonderful to have a woman who came from humble beginnings, worked her way through college and law school, and ascended her way to become a Harvard Law School professor, a U.S. Senator, then President of the United States of America? Wouldn't it be magnificent? But it's not enough that she's brilliant. In a democracy, we don't simply rely on our leaders to tell us what they know, to issue commands from high up in their ivory tower. We depend on our leaders to listen to us. Yes. The best leaders in a democracy are more than just smart people. They have empathy. They care about ordinary people. They are intentional about paying attention to the everyday struggles of people who are often looked. Great leaders in a democracy care about the sick, the forgotten, the marginalized, the poor, the disenfranchised, the incarcerated. They go out of their way to understand the problems that people face, and they have the passion and the resolve to do something about it. How do I know Elizabeth Warren practices empathy? I hear it in the way she answers questions about policy, about what she would do in office. She doesn't just rattle off her prescriptions. You have to listen closely. More than any candidate that I've ever seen, Elizabeth answers about policy start with a story about people. She talks about a mother she's met who's struggling to get child care. The families she's seen driven to bankruptcy by medical care costs. The communities harmed by racial discrimination. She understands that this diverse nation has all kinds of people, and they deserve a president who listens to their issues and cares about making the government work for all of them. She doesn't spend time whining and dining billionaires so she can fund her campaign. She spends her time talking to the people. If you donate $5 to her campaign, she just might personally call you up and say thank you. If you wait in line with thousands of other people to shake her hand and take a selfie, she often will stand there and do it for each and every person who shows up and waits long enough. Now, why does she do all of that? It's because Elizabeth Warren fundamentally believes that our democracy is in danger, that the government has become too corrupt, too beholden to the interests of the powerful and the connected. And the reason she ran for president was to give this democracy back to its rightful owners. Its rightful owners are the people of the United States of America. That's why she takes the time to listen to each and every one of you. She knows democracy is you. And that's why she's got plans. Yes, y'all know. She's got a plan for that. If you know nothing else about Elizabeth Warren, you know that she has plans that will bring meaningful, positive change to the lives of everyday Americans. You see, she combines her brilliance, her deep understanding of the law and the government, how it all works, with a profound passion for the people, a sense of empathy that informs every plan, every policy. And that's why whenever she says she intends to do something, you can rest assured she's doing it for a reason. She's listened to people like you. She's thought about the impact. She's spoken to experts in the field, and she's resolved to do something to make it happen. Yes. Elizabeth knows that our communities need big structural change. That the system has been rigged for too long against too many people. And she has a plan for all of that. Elizabeth grew up on the edge of the middle class. Unlike any other candidates, her personal, professional, and political experience has been devoted to the most critical issue of our time, the pursuit of equal opportunity for all in the United States. She believes in capitalism, but she knows that we need rules, we need enforcement to make sure it works for everybody, not just the powerful and wealthy. In order for our democracy to work, we need to make sure our politicians know who they're working for. That's why Elizabeth has the most sweeping anti-corruption plan since Watergate. We cannot wait any longer to undo the evil and corruption that Trump has unleashed in the last few years. But it's not enough for us to just undo the damage this president has done in the last few years. We have to make big changes that have been needed for decades. Our country has been horrible at investing in education. Elizabeth will guarantee high-quality child care and early education for every child from 0 to 5. And we know our healthcare system has been a mess for a long time. Obamacare did a lot to fix that, but we've got a lot more work to do. The costs are still crushing too many American families, even those who have good insurance. Millions of people with insurance are one bad diagnosis away from going broke. That's why Elizabeth supports Medicare for all, and she plans to fully finance it without raising taxes on the middle class by 1 penny. We also know that racial inequality still runs rampant in our society. We know that this nation's original sin of slavery and its centuries-long devaluing of black lives have had long-lasting effects on the way that black folks live today in 2020. We've seen the data when it comes to the wealth gap, the home ownership gap, the education gap, the disparities in how we're treated by the criminal justice system. But these aren't just graphs and numbers on the page. These are lived experiences. Centuries of trauma and exclusion targeted our communities. Too many of us know what this looks like and feels like, and Elizabeth has listened to us. She knows that all this harm visited specifically on the black community requires solutions that are specifically targeted to the community. She supports creating a commission on reparations for the descendants of enslaved people. Unlike my former mayor, Mayor Bloomberg, she knows that housing discrimination through redlining has been a national tragedy, and her housing plan creates a first-of-its-kind program to help first-time home buyers living in formerly redlined areas to buy a home and start building the kind of wealth that government sponsors